Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Cargan with Poppin' is Z. About to react to this vid by Hello You Seen. It's titled, How the Internet Bullied This Rapper into Divorce. This is Ricky Rose. I never knew he was married. When did he get divorced? How did he get bullied into divorce? Let's get the tea. Let's watch.
The internet saving you from an embarrassing marriage is one of the most
I
positive
know
things
her.
that
That's
could potentially have happened. There are few things more important than respect within hip-hop. Do rappers have feelings? Well, this question appears ridiculous and to some extent stupid and has an obvious answer. Feelings and respect are distinct. Many people forget that hip-hop artists, despite the super tough rap personas, are regular people with relationships, families, and friends. A loud, provocative, and very satirical Eminem is always visibly emotional when performing Mockingbird. One of the famous, quote-unquote, gangster rappers, Tupac, created an entire song apologizing to his mother on Dear Mama, and plenty more. There are also cases where the most hardened gangsters get caught up in romantic relationships that lead to hearts getting broken, them sometimes getting embarrassed, careers, and sometimes even lives ending. While Rick Ross isn't necessarily perceived as the hardest gangster or one of the quote-unquote realest rappers around, it's still surprising to know that even he had to deal with a lot of romantic hardships on his career path, especially given his artistic gimmick of ladies' man and kingpin. In fact, there were not one but multiple women Rick Ross had difficult breakups with, although the most famous and arguably the most entertaining and shocking one was his falling out with Lyra Galore.
Yes, I know.
As usual, everything started out on a very high note between
They got married?
Lyra Galore was 21 years old at the time, while Rick Ross was about 39 and already had 2 children. Although Ross was single at the time, Lyra Galore recalled her first time seeing Rick Ross. I met Ross on the set of the Thug Cry video with Lil Wayne, but we didn't start talking until later, because on set it was just a work vibe. We met again All-Star Weekend, and he grabbed me like, yo, I've been looking for you. We exchanged numbers, and the rest is history. The two were dating for almost a year, making tons of posts on social media, public appearances together, taking part in magazine photo shoots, and even getting each other's name tattooed on their body. Galore, who was a model, wasn't a stranger to thousands of eyes on her persona, when realistically she was just a stripper, not a real model. Although her relationship with Rick Ross marked the first time her private life went public, as she recalled, this was my first time in a public relationship, so I was happy about putting it out there. Even though the relationship started during a difficult time for Rick Ross, given the controversial situation in which he allegedly threatened and pistol whipped one of his house workers, it seemed that his relationship with Galore helped Ross get through. And one of the first things Rick Ross did after the battery charges were dropped was proposing to his then-girlfriend Lyra Galore. As it goes with rappers, it was a first-class engagement. Everybody had to know about it, everybody had to see everything about it, etc. Rick Ross took Lyra Galore to Raffaello & Co. jewelry store in New York and gifted her a massive 11-carat diamond ring worth $350,000. Ross also presented Lyra Galore with a custom wedding band crafted from 6-carat diamonds to show his affection, and after she said yes, the two went to a celebration dinner at Red Sticks restaurant. Soon, Rick Ross made a public announcement that he and Lyra Galore are indeed engaged, but he said that things would go slowly and he wanted to make sure he made the right decision, saying, "That's my baby, it's official. No, we're not married yet. You know, being the boss, you're able to see and know what you want, so that's what it was." While it was surprising to see the boss, Rick Ross, finally settle down, funnily enough, it wasn't surprising to Lyra Galore herself, as 3 years earlier in 2012, she tweeted that one day she would indeed marry Rick Ross. Everything was seemingly perfect, but it didn't take long for the first major problem to occur between the two. Only a couple of weeks after the engagement, the media was flooded with rumors of Rick Ross and Lyra Galore taking a break from their relationship. Despite their internal problems, Rick Ross decided to post a video clip for his song Sorry with Chris Brown, in which Lyra Galore starred in as well. There weren't any private details on their Discord, but they would get back together about a week later. They wanted to show how much stronger their bond got after their first falling out and returned to the media world with what many perceived as a pre-wedding photo for Paper magazine. The couple was wearing high-fashion clothes, riding horses, and spending time around a luxurious property. The photo shoot came with a special interview where Ross tried to put all the internet rumors about him and Lyra Galore breaking up and shared his opinion on the gossip around his name. "You see a lot on the internet, so it's not going to directly affect my business partners, or me. I hardly reach out to correct someone. Instead, my music is used to clarify any BS. But I actually woke up recently and read a blog that said me and Lyra separated and it involved another rapper. Of course, that was totally fabricated. There was nothing she did to me and vice versa. I got nothing but love and respect for Lyra." However, the next major dispute between Ross and Lyra Galore happened only a month after their reunion, and it eventually became the last quarrel. There were even reports that the scenes were so bad that Lyra Galore had to pack all her stuff and leave Ross Mansion the same day. The two stopped making public appearances and hadn't made any announcements until early January, weeks after the dispute, although Lyra Galore was still wearing her engagement ring throughout that period of time. It started off on Twitter, but on January 6th, the first reports of Rick Ross and Lyra Galore officially calling off their engagement made it to issues like XXL and MTV. Many fans were shocked by this turn of events, as there were no visible signs of anything going on between the two, although things weren't as simple as they seemed at first glance. Previously, I mentioned Rick Ross' interview for the magazine, where he discussed internet rumors and things of that nature. In that interview, Ross mentioned an internet article about some unnamed rapper being the main reason for Rick Ross and Lyra Galore's initial breakup. It turned out that the article was a far cry from being quote-unquote fabricated, as Ross labeled it. The thing is, the fans who followed both celebrities lived on social media, dug up a series of controversial posts that apparently made Rick Ross...
Oh, I want to marry Wale. Why you didn't delete this? Why would you leave this evidence on your Twitter? Dear Wale, I love you, your music, and the fact that you love smart girls with future plans and goals. So you did this with multiple people. Look at her with Meek. So probably not like money kills so far. I remember watching this on the Paul Power episode.
Furious and
this just seems like support. These two thirst.
Justifiably so. The fans found the aforementioned tweet where young Lyra Galore foresaw her engagement with Rick Ross way before the two actually met, and it was by no means a post that led to their breakup, although there was another tweet from the same period of time when Lyra Galore made similar claims about other rappers, including Wale and Meek Mill. Sure, it may not have been the best to judge a person by looking at their 4-year-old tweets, but who are we kidding? Of course we're going to judge them based on their 4-year-old tweets. Given that Lyra Galore was maybe 18 or 19 at the time, but according to Lyra Galore herself, she was a stripper years before she met Ross, and she made a lot of posts from her workplace back in the day. One of those posts was her on top of the Dream Chasers crew, sitting on Meek Mill's lap, and as you can probably guess, that is one of the most embarrassing things that a boss, Rick Ross, is going to marry and have his queen look like. Fans discovered the photo, and while the fact that Lyra Galore was not only naked in the image would have been enough to make Rick Ross angry, there was also Meek Mill, of course. And it didn't take long for the fan theory to become a reality, as Lyra Galore herself confirmed the rumors when she gave an interview for an online issue, Global Grind. I think our initial breakup was a combination of everything from people digging up tweets when I was 17 years old, tweeting about different people, to the picture of Meek. I went to Ross tagged photos one day, and it was only that picture of Meek. And it was just the photo. Everyone just kept posting it, and I felt like as a man, he just couldn't handle it when it was just nothing. That is absolutely not nothing. Rick Ross did what he was supposed to do. What was he supposed to handle that? What does handling that mean? I feel like during that time apart, he realized he was tripping, so we got back together. It's probably not the case. He probably thought he could deal with that, and then he realized nobody's going to respect me within my industry, and definitely it would harm my career as well. So basically, Rick Ross, like a regular human being, was disgusted by the fact that his fiancée, Lyra Galore...
But didn't you know she stripped? I'm confused. So it's like, okay, I was cool with you stripping and shaking your ass in niggas' faces, but not one of my colleagues, not one of my peers. You can't, and there's evidence of it. It's gonna make me look bad. Like, you already knew she was a stripper. I'm confused.
And his not even business partner, the person signed underneath him, below him in hierarchy, Meek Mill, could have been smutted out in the past. Add this to the fact that the photo was public, and both fans and haters of Rick Ross were spreading it everywhere on the internet, the latter clowning the man for rocking with the hoe and being a quote-unquote loser who hangs out with women Meek Mill smashed before. The pressure, the public drama, and of course the photo itself caused tons of issues for them, and was definitely the main thing that led to them breaking up. However, of course, things weren't as simple as the internet made them appear. Lyra Galore said that she wasn't ever stressed about the picture, as she believed it was just another picture that she posted on her Instagram while she was at work.
You posted that?
Quote, dance. However, many still found Rick Ross' reaction understandable, as every person has their own set of things that they're not ready to condone, and I don't know many people willing to condone that. Also, one of the insiders from Rick Ross' circle of friends anonymously commented on his situation and whether Meek Mill indeed had an engagement with Lyra Galore. If that was ever the case, I'm sure Meek Mill would have told Rick Ross about it beforehand. Meek and Ross have a close relationship, and the boss knows about the photo, which is an old pic. He assured Rose that nothing never happened between the two of them. Everybody has a past, but it doesn't mean that anything went down between them, and even if it did, they were two single adults and no one can predict the future. Well, the truth is, it doesn't matter what actually happened because the perception was out there on the internet, and in the rap game, Rick Ross has a perception to maintain. In the years that followed, Lyra Galore went on to just a bunch of reality shows. One of them was Iyanna Fix My Life, where she wanted to turn her life around since it had gone quote-unquote downhill after her breakup with Rick Ross. There, she shared more details on their falling out and suggested that there were some serious problems between them. Besides the photo, our relationship was phenomenal, but then he changed. He was doing a lot of sneaky things behind my back. While there's no way to tell exactly what Lyra Galore implied by that phrase, and it's likely just another attempt at trying to remain popular to a certain degree to capture another potential suitor, it could perhaps be a hint at Rick Ross being a cheater. During one of the interviews when Lyra Galore and Rick Ross were still together, her mother was approached by a person who claimed that Rick Ross had an affair with their friend, to which Galore's mom responded in a surprising fashion, "He a celebrity. That's to be expected. You think we don't know that? As long as your homegirl getting wet something, while my baby getting diamonds and his heart and treated like a queen in his palace, then who winning, boo? Where's your friend's diamonds at?" Lyra Galore would just be talking about Rick Ross for an extended amount of time after that, trying to maintain her clout. She mentioned previous problems with alcohol that had seemingly developed since the quote-unquote heartbreak that led to multiple social media arguments Lyra Galore had with fans. Rick Ross. After all those years, Lyra Galore seemed to be in a better place, running her Instagram account, being linked to numerous celebrities, and I believe having a child with one of the CEOs of Quality Control Music. Rick Ross, on the other hand, is doing better than ever. I don't believe he's married right now. As Rick Ross mentioned in one of his interviews in 2019, he said, "He's so focused on his business and has been rich for so long that it's hard for him to even imagine getting married." His opinion doesn't seem to have changed since that time, as in 2020 he made a similar claim, saying, "I've always been the type of dude that feels like this is who I am, this is what I'm here for. I'm here to provide for my family and make sure that's straight. I don't believe that me being married is the end-all be-all." And in 2022, he elaborated on his stance, saying that he believes that
relationships, they begin so phenomenal with Rose, but once a person would get the experience and see what my work ethic is like, not many women can take that. Of course, she'll be in love with me on the next level. Rose could easily spoil her mentals, her physicals, her emotionals, her soul, her spirit.
Right.
That's not the challenge. Can she accept my schedule?
As for Rick Ross and Lyra Galore's opinion of each other after all those years, she seems to be salty about what happened with Rick Ross, understandably so considering the internet ruined her opportunity, and she still makes negative comments on Rick Ross from time to time. Rick Ross, on the other hand, has had not really much to say at all.
What about the ex-girlfriend, Lyra Galore? So the last time you were here, you were with Lyra, and then the last time I saw her was on this Ayanla show, and she didn't paint you in the best way.
I was looking at it from a business standpoint. Shorty, get your money, get your paper, you know what I'm saying? Build your brand, and I hope that's whatever it is you're doing, that's what you're doing. But say, I never had nothing negative to say about a woman because that ain't the energy I bring. It ain't nothing negative. You really, if something ain't work out or, ain't go the way I may have wanted to, I'm going to get over that.
Period.
But I'm going to still wish you the best.
I love that. I respect that heavy because that's how I feel. It's like, look, the relationship didn't work. It didn't work. It's time to move on. Wish you well anyway. But yeah, I had no idea that they got engaged. I definitely knew that they were linked in some type of way, but I didn't know the details of it. But for him to call off the engagement because that picture popped up, I think that's so weird, given that you knew she was a stripper. You know what that job entails. It entails her shaking ass and sitting on niggas' laps naked, because that's what strippers do. So why you pressed about it? And I mean, sure, his ego was hurt, and it's like, oh, this is Meek Mill, he under my label. So that is really embarrassing, but it's like, that was in the past. But yeah, I guess he didn't want to deal with getting clowned. And I mean, that is kind of understandable, but it's like, damn, if you really love this person, is that enough to make you end the relationship? If you really feel like this is your person, and you clearly felt that way because you proposed to her, so there was a good amount of love you had for her. So to break it off because I'm embarrassed. I don't know. I just think that was weird, especially when you already knew. I could say if he had no idea she was a stripper, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know who you are. That's something different, but you knew. So it's like, I can't really feel sorry for you. Like, what? But yeah, this was interesting. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.